My name is Barbara Petrush.
My name is Ellen Dinolfo.
Yes, good morning. My name is Gloria Ragonetti, and I have lived in this area since 1971. I'm originally from Queens and from the Catskill area, Hyde Park, New York, but I have lived in Glens Falls since 1971.
The name of the restaurant is Jack's, and it's on Glen Street, Upper Glen Street. I did not grow up here, but we moved here in 1976, so we've been around a few years.
Well, I have two fond memories. We moved here in 1988 from Rochester, New York. And at that time, the blacksmith shop was a restaurant that was attached to the Howard Johnson's at exit 19. Oh, okay. And it was legendary. And we used to love and go for their, I want to say prime rib, but it wasn't prime rib, London broil, I'm sorry. And it was wonderful. So that was my first introduction to the area and that. And then as we made friends in the neighborhood and everything, we kind of got into Friday night football pool at the Docksider on Glen Lake. And so we would go there every Friday night. Of course, I knew nothing about football. I just picked them by the color of their uniforms mostly, or their names. So every Friday night we just had a lot of fun. And one of our favorite meals there was the club sandwich. It was legendary. So those are my memories.
I said, I grew up in Queens, and really, we didn't go out a lot to eat. My mother cooked, and I do remember going to a Chinese restaurant because that was very different from my background, last name being Ragonetti. So when I moved to Queensbury, it was a very different experience. I was younger, of course, and a new teacher. And so we used a lot of the restaurants locally for socializing. And the one that comes to my mind, I'm sure my fellow colleagues will remember, was the Howard Johnsons at Exit 19 had on Fridays what they called a happy hour, which was like cocktails. And we called it double bubble because the drinks were a little special. And on Fridays, that's where we would go. And we would have our drinks there. And then right next door to the Howard Johnsons was the blacksmith shop. It was a steak restaurant, and either you got steak, or steak, but they prepared it in different ways. And I remember there were 9 varieties, but that's where we would go. And it was great because the meal was very affordable, and you had your baked potato and your salad. But again, it was an opportunity to meet other people who were also new to the area. So Payday Friday, we went to Double Bubble and then to the blacksmith shop. So that was definitely a favorite of mine.
We have gone to Jack's for our anniversary, birthdays, really used it quite frequently.
We were very social, as new teachers just starting out. And so we would go to the Montcalm restaurant, which is no longer there now. It's part of the outlets. But that was a great restaurant for family and for friends. And you always had a great meal there. And, we would go for cocktails first and then stay for meals. And I remember the Montcalm. I loved the Montcalm because it had different things that I'd never heard of. They had like frog's legs, and they had this souffle. And so it was really, it was fun. And it was a little bit special. It wasn't as casual. One of the casual restaurants that I really like, even to this day, is a Cooper's Cave. It's in downtown Glens Falls, it's off of Dix Avenue and Sagamore Street. And what I liked about it was like the woman who currently owns the restaurant. Her name is Patty Bethel, and she started out as an ice cream stand, and then they went into beers, and then their restaurant. And now it's an established restaurant where you get some really good meals. And again, it's home cooking. But what's nice about it is that whenever I go there, I see people that I know, because the location of it, what I do like is that the tourists don't know where it is. So it's all local people. And that's been really great. So I'm definitely a proponent of the Cooper's Cave.
Brings people together. You go there and you see people that you know, and you meet new people because they're in the same place you are.
Oh, well, they're just great gathering places, and food is generally really good around here. Over the years, farm to market or farm to table restaurants have come up, and just it's always nice to be able to recommend a good restaurant to somebody who comes into town, or when family would come into town, we would go out.
I think it makes it's a big contribution, because it kind of defines what we mean by life in the North Country. The foods are basic, a lot of American foods, and I'm seeing, though, in recent years that we have more Asian foods and more Mexican foods, and it's great because it's drawing in not only just foods for our community, but for the tourists that are coming to our areas. They're coming to ski, or they're coming to shop, or they're going further north, but they like Glens Falls because we have a lot of restaurants and opportunities for them to try different foods. So I think that's definitely been a contribution. And again, a lot of the restaurants that started out as bars in our neighborhoods have expanded to offering different kinds of foods. And so again, there's a tradition, like on Friday night, you're going to go to maybe the Bullpen, or you're going to go to Raoul's, or you're going to try something on South Street. There's lots of activities that's happening now on South Street, and it's making it, again, more family oriented as opposed to what it was maybe in the earlier 70s.
All of the above. Jack's Restaurant is really great. It's a family-run situation. The two brothers are running it now. One is the cook or chef. The other is the person on board in the main dining room. The bartender is amazing. We happen to know him also. The food is excellent. The atmosphere is great. They change with the seasons. It's just a nice place to go.
Well, I think it's all of those. Probably the food foremost. Then, if there's good wait staff and congeniality and warmth is a big thing. So I think all of that contributes.
I think it's all of it. I think it's a comfort level. The whole idea of going out to dinner is so that you're not cooking. That's number one. So you want to go to a place where you're going to enjoy the meal, but you're going to go back because of the service and the atmosphere. And I think that what I see downtown is a lot of restaurants that are offering that, the familiar faces, like I'll meet you at, and so that has become something that's very consistent just across the board, even at Queensbury Hotel. Now, that was always considered, that bar there was considered for the residents that were coming to visit the area. But now it's a local, like I'll meet you at Fenimore's, or I'll meet you at Radici, or I'll meet you at Gourmet Cafe. And what I love about all the places that I just mentioned, they're all owned by locals. It's not a chain. We do have Burger King. I have to acknowledge it because there it is by the Civic Center. But the majority of the restaurants that are downtown are all locally owned by people. I mean, I have to mention Charles Wood. He was a big contributor to our area. Not only did he have Storytown, which of course became the Great Escape, and he had Gaslight Village, but he also had the blacksmith shop. He also operated that Howard Johnson's that was at exit 19. Now that's where Ambrosia is. So unfortunately, that tradition is gone of the blacksmith shop and the double bubble and the going there for drinks on a Friday. But again, I see those kinds of happy hours happening downtown, and I'm noticing like a lot of business people, real estate, insurance, they bring their clients there. So they're going to the restaurant not just to eat, but to conduct a little side business, make it more friendly. So I think I would say that is the atmosphere, that you're going to have a drink, you're going to have a great meal, but the atmosphere is you're going to see people that you know. And I think that's very nice for a small city to have that kind of tone.
There are so many restaurants that we haven't been able to try them all. We have our favorites, but when it comes time to go to a particular restaurant, it's maybe closed. A lot of them don't stay open that long.
I think generally gained, although there have been a few restaurants that have gone by the wayside that we've always been sad to see go. The Coachman is now part of the Great Escape. That was always a nice place to have a meeting. I used to be chairman of my group at school, and we would have some of our meetings there. It was always good. But generally, this area seems to embrace new cuisine, new ideas, and so restaurants seem to thrive if they're good.
Again, a lot of changes to downtown Glens Falls. I mean, always the reputation was hometown USA, and I think what I like seeing is that the restaurants that we have still kind of maintain that hometown atmosphere. We have the beer. Not the beer distributors, the breweries. That's right. The breweries that we have are all locally owned, and so people go there because there's a friendly atmosphere. They like the feeling that it's affordable and it's fun and it's safe too. Everything is in like a 2-mile radius, so you don't have a lot of driving to do, because that is an issue. I mean, I do remember years ago we didn't have the concerns, but we should have. I think we took a lot of risks, but now people are very aware of the drink limitations and driving and Uber. I think the Uber has become a part of downtown Glens Falls, which I never expected, because I think of an Uber like in Los Angeles or New York City. But yes, there's a need, and we have it, and we should all use it.